I actually just made a 40-minute episode of this talking about some pretty crazy shit. I was talking about XRP, Bitcoin, Jerome Powell, and how he basically rug pulled everybody and screwed everybody over. Talked about Israel and the United States and how Israel kind of owns the United States. I talked about all of the invasions happening in Europe and the big changes we're seeing with the events basically developing with the drones. You know, in New Jersey, we're talking about Russia. We talked about Russia, Ukraine, talked about everything, right? The new financial system that's incoming, the World War III, the globalists. We talked about everything in a 40-minute episode. And what do you know? It didn't save it. Yep, I didn't have storage on my laptop. I have 250 gigabytes on this laptop, so I have to constantly get new storage. And I'm grateful for what I have. I'm not complaining, just explaining. But that's kind of what happened. Do you love America? Do you love your country? How badly do you love the United States? Because this country is dying, and not just the country of America, but the idea of America, which is freedom, which is Christianity, which is faith, which is strength, which is innovation, prosperity. That is what America means, and we're losing that. And that a big part of that is because we are too afraid to speak the truth as a nation. Right, so what's happening is we have essentially a certain faction of people in control that are called the Jews. And so we're afraid to say that word. That word is a dirty word, not supposed to say it. And why? Because in school you were taught that the Jews were a victimized race, that they were attacked by Hitler and the Holocaust, and we've learned all of these terrible things. But the truth is what we've learned now. And if you don't believe me, you can search it, you can look me up, you can fact check me. Go on Twitter, just type it right in and you'll find everything I'm looking at. Community, I might get community notes on some of the things I say here because it's controversial, even for X. So, but I think it's important that we bring up these controversial issues and we talk about these things. So what I really wanted to hit on is the fact that Israel does own the United States. Again, we can work with Israel, but it's like, why do they need to own our country? They own everything. They're running everything. And again, I guess that's not a bad thing, right? People say that, oh, well, the Jews have a lot of money. Yeah, they give us a lot of money. They're number one allies, number one supporters. And that's wonderful. But at the same time, you know, Israel just committed a mass genocide on Syria, a Christian nation. Okay, most of them were Christian, not Sunni Muslims. I mean, most of them were Christians and good people, innocent people. And we genocided them. Not we, the Jews genocided them. The Jews genocided them. But we as Americans backed that up. Actually, yeah, we were a part of that. We funded it. It was our resources, a lot of our political legislations. The power of America essentially acted as a Trojan horse to expand Greater Israel. And so that's always been the plan, is to expand Greater Israel. And so I guess we all just didn't know this, and I didn't know this until this past 6 months. I really started paying attention to Nick Fuentes, and I started listening to people like that. And the reason is because I've always liked people who were hated by the masses. I've always been attracted to those individuals who were hunted down because of seeking the truth. And Nick Fuentes is a great example of somebody who spoke the truth. Alex Jones was originally the first person I started listening to who reminded me of that. He's been on the air 30 years, Alex Jones, and he has the bravery to speak what's happening in the world. And it's an important thing that we talk about that, right? Nick Fuentes was just nearly killed, and 3 other of his neighbors were killed with 2 dogs. So, you know, what's happening in this country is absolute madness. And it's again, like Nick Fuentes had said, it's just before Christmas, which is just so crazy because, you know, we could be doing so much more as a nation. Instead, we're trying to kill each other because of our opinions and, you know, doxing people on the internet. You know, I mean, just it's insane what we're doing to one another as a human race. Everybody's so afraid to speak the truth anymore on all the other social media platforms. X is the only place you can get the real truth. But what's still interesting is that we're at a crossroads now. We have several different parties at work here. We have the media. We have Wall Street. We have Washington, D.C. We have the banks. We have the real estate markets. We have the entrepreneurs. We have all these different groups fighting for all this power. Oh, yeah, don't forget, yes, the Jews. We have all of these different groups fighting against each other. We have the Syrians, the Russians, the Iranians, the Germans who are being invaded, just like England. All of Europe is being invaded right now. It's a mass migrant invasion. But we can't necessarily blame the Muslims, in my opinion. Now, first of all, let's just talk about why I'm even making this video. Well, I enjoy making these videos because I like to talk about it. I like to have the conversation about the world. I like to see what's actually happening. I like to see what everybody else is thinking about the things that are going on. So, something that's really interesting to me is what we're seeing today with crypto in particular. And we're seeing a financial reset, essentially. We're seeing everything we were being told and warned about with the Black Swan event years ago during COVID, which was completely, gain of function research. We had a lot of bureaucrats trying to control our country, control your rights, shut down businesses, shut down the U.S. government. These people need to be in jail, by the way. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but these people need to be in jail. All of these politicians, all of these bureaucrats who are behind this need to be put in prison. And, people need to start speaking up about it. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this, is because I'm noticing a real wave of warriors. But it's a different generation. It's psychological warfare. But how much do you love America? Because we're letting our values die. They're trying to take your Second Amendment away. They're trying to get you into World War III and force you into this. They're trying to essentially take away your right to be rich. Look at what happened with XRP. Look at what happened with Bitcoin. Right? Jeremy Powell recently just said a few days ago at the chairman of the Federal Reserve, he literally just said, oh, we're not allowed to own Bitcoin. We're not allowed to own Bitcoin at the Federal Reserve, even though nobody makes our laws. Nobody rules us. Nobody has any control over us. Nobody has any oversight over the Federal Reserve. But we're not allowed to own Bitcoin.
Assets that have been buoyant. Do you see any value or benefit in the U.S. government building a reserve of Bitcoin?
We're not allowed to own Bitcoin. The Federal Reserve Act says what we can own, and we're not looking for a law change. That's the kind of thing for Congress to consider, but we are not looking for a law change at the Fed.
We have no intentions of changing the law. Fuck these people. What gives them the right to say that, by the way? Who gives them the right to decide whether or not this entire country uses Bitcoin and XRP or not? You decide. You're the one who owns Bitcoin and crypto. You're the one who owns XRP. I own Bitcoin and XRP. We control the currency now. And these people just don't want you to control it. They don't want us to control it. They don't want us to have a future. And that's the real truth. Because that would mean the scam would die. And what do I mean by the scam? Well, let's talk about the dollar for a second. So the U.S. dollar got off the gold standard in 1971. Essentially, Richard Nixon was the one who took us off the gold standard. When that happened, the dollar became worthless, and we were able to print the value of money out of thin air and just decide it. One man would be like, yeah, today let's put Dow Jones at 2,800. We decide the numbers, and it's all just inflated and made out of thin air. It's all fugazi, right? Like the Wolf of Wall Street, like the movie. Matthew McConaughey's character said, it's all fugazi. It's all made up. It's fake. It's not real. It's true. Money is not real. It's all made up value. So everything you're doing. And, it was funny. I just saw this meme, and it showed a picture of the entire universe, the galaxy, all these galaxies. And it showed an arrow pointing to the Milky Way. And it just said, you are here paying taxes. And it was hilarious because it's just like, what the fuck are we paying taxes for anyways? Why? I mean, oh yeah, well, Brenda, that's so we can build the roads. That's so we can have police departments like yours. It's like, okay, listen. Yeah, I might be a police officer, by the way. But at the end of the day, I'm a part-time cop for a reason. Okay, because I like my freedom, one. And two, I like to run my businesses. I like to be entrepreneurial. I like to be explorative. I like to talk to people. I like to be able to have my opinions and make videos like this. If I was a full-time police officer, I'd never be able to make full-time opinion. I would never be able to make opinions like this if I was a full-time cop. So I am intentionally a part-time police officer. And I also had written 2 books too. It was never in my plans to be a cop long. I was a cop for a couple. I've been a cop for 3 years now, almost just about 3 years. But I'm looking to get out of the career. I'm looking to just focus more on business, entrepreneurship. That's kind of what I enjoy. You know, I've always loved business. I've always loved, you know, the idea of making money with other people. And so, by the way, if you're looking to make money in your business, you're looking to change your life a little bit, you're looking to expand, looking to get some marketing, whatever you need, work with me. Visit www.goldsharkmedia.com and you can work with me. Book a call with my team, or you can order a plan, whatever. Order some merch, and that'll help us. You can support me if you'd like to. And again, if you're a content creator out there on Twitter X, and if you're being shadow banned, if you're trying to get more views, message me and we'll work something out. Okay, we have plans tailored to every form of business, small businesses up to Fortune 500s. And, you know, we think pretty big. And so I'm looking for entrepreneurs who want to change the world. So if you do want to change the world, work with me. So back to the, you know, original conversation here. Do you love America? Do you want to save your country? Because if what's happening in Europe and England, they're being dominated right now. They're being conquered, if you didn't know this. So again, in school, your high schools, your colleges and universities might tell you that, well, what you're seeing in England is actually more of just a open-minded, you know, it's diversity. It's a beautiful thing. It's like, no, it's not a beautiful thing. Diversity is, you know, it's great and all. That's cool. But, you know, what's really cool is to have a strong, powerful race of your own people and, you know, people who helped build the country you're living in, right? So who built America, for example? Like, who built America? Yes, we're all immigrants. So I'm not against immigrants. I'm against illegal immigrants. Okay, so we came here. So my ancestors came here from Scotland, Ireland, Germany, and Norway and Sweden, really. That's pretty much my DNA test if you look at it. And, you know, we came to this country, and a lot of my ancestors helped found this country. My grandmother, she's a descendant of Daniel Boone, who helped found Kentucky, essentially. So that was pretty something neat that I found when I had taken my DNA test. But, you know, I think it's just so important that we as an American population stand up for what we believe in, and we stand up for the cross, for Christianity, because that's what this country is about at the end of the day. You can say that we're not a Christian nation all you want. You can say that we're a Muslim nation. No, we're not. We're a Christian nation. And what you're seeing happen in Germany right now, what you're seeing happen in England, these Muslims taking over these countries like by force, like trying to conquer these people and just like totally 2 different races. This is the globalists, okay? This is the globalist factions, you know, which is basically the media, the banks. This is the Federal Reserve. This is the secret societies. All these people are getting together, and most of them, by the way, at the heads and the tops of all of these things, they have shown that there are a lot of Jews who do run these things, and I want to address that because I know people in the comments are going to be like, oh, Brennan, you're not afraid to say the word. It's like, listen, you know, we have to be objective about this. We have to be smart about the way we talk about it. It's a sensitive issue. And, you know, there's so much we don't know about what's happening. And, you know, all we know for sure is that on Twitter X, we're seeing a psychological warfare operation. All we know for sure is that we're in World War III. All we know for sure is that Vladimir Putin and NATO are at war with each other. All thanks to NATO, by the way. NATO started this. The American government started this. When really it wasn't our American government. It was our American government who is run by really corrupt people. So it's like, could you imagine waking up in a Christian town and you have to hear a Muslim giving a chant? Or it's like, and then from the flip side, imagine if you're a Muslim. What if all of us Christians went into your country, wherever you guys came from, and we just started putting crucifixes in churches everywhere? Like, you don't see us doing that to you guys. You don't see Christians doing that to other people, by the way. We are a peaceful religion. Muhammad and the Muslims are not. I'm sorry. It's just not. The Sunnis. Okay, because you have to understand, when you talk about the Muslims, you have to understand that there's the Sunni Muslims and there's Christian Muslims. So there's different factions of Muslims. So we have to understand that too. Okay, and I've taken some time to understand that. And I do know that. And if you're listening to this, if you are a Muslim, I'm not against you. I'm against what the globalists have done in order to put us against each other. Okay, so the Jews have quoted that we need to keep the Christians and the Muslims fighting against each other at all times because they'll never fight against us Jews. So that's why you're seeing these invasions happening with England versus the Muslims. Then you have Germany being invaded by the Muslims, my people, right? A bunch of Germans. And so I'm also a little bit English in my DNA too, I forgot to mention. So my DNA, since people are so curious about this and always fascinated by this and everybody's DNA and where we all came from, I came from originally, if you look at my DNA test, it's mostly Scottish, then it's Irish, then after that it's German, Austrian, and then it's like Norwegian and Scandinavian. So, yeah, I'm just pretty much I'm full. And then it's actually if you look at my DNA, I'm trying to remember by heart here. I don't have it at the top of my head. If you go to the top, I think it's Scottish first, Irish second, then it's British Isles, Wales, and then after that, it's German, Austrian, Norwegian, and Swedish. And that's what I remember seeing. That's what it was. Yeah, see, I got a thumbs up from my laptop because apparently I did good explaining it. But, so that's the truth. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's really all I have to say is how much do you want to protect American values? How much do you want to protect Christianity? Because if we don't fight back now for freedom of speech, for what's true, what's right, if we don't say what's true on X, and we don't actually have the conversations that need to be had, the difficult conversations, the conversations like we were having with COVID, the same conversation we were having about the face masks, the vaccines, all of that. We need to keep having those conversations. If we want to be in a prosperous nation, in the United States of America, a Christian nation, then stand up for what is true, for what is right, and for what is just. Because that is what being a Christian is, for peace, for prosperity. And that is the future of America, but also the world. And that's what this future can be. If we open crypto, if we open our opportunities, we can do anything. Stay prudent, stay powerful, stay wealthy. See you next time.